And if you were wondering why we call ourselves the Four Idiots, because we don't even know when the fuck we're going live. So you got three of us. Chris, I think, is heading to a bar to get absolutely wrecked right now. That would be my guess.
Boy.
Yeah, he claims he's picking up a buddy from the airport, but I don't trust it. That might be true, but I know he's going straight to a bar. So we're gonna jump in this. Maybe we should recap last week. I know I went 2-1. I think Chris went 1-2 again. Geez, you banged the living hell out of Georgia alt line up to 23.5.
Sure did.
Yeah. So, and UCLA, you and Chris were both on that one, and then I followed that. So it ended up being a really, really good Saturday.
Great Saturday for us last week. Yeah, for sure.
Chris, you went 2-1 again, right? Another ho hum bar for you.
2-1. Yeah. I had only lost by a half.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That was disgusting.
The worst fucking non-cover of the day from Maryland. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. And it's well, screw it. We'll just jump into it. So I got 3. Chase has 3. Poop Master has 3. And Mr. Cheese just has 1. So
I think I have 2. I have 2. I have a best bet.
You got 2. Okay.
I have a best bet and another one.
We'll probably be going over a little bit of analysis for Chris's, but probably just throwing them out at the end. But yeah, I guess I'll just start since I'm talking here. So I think I'm going all 3 Pac-12 bets this week. So the first one I got is UCLA. It's down to 3.5. I took it at 4. Like a lot of my plays are kind of the same. Just the trends, if you will, say to take the home team who's favored in these ranked matchups, but it's been hot, and it's not the reason I'm going the opposite. But I watched most of that UCLA game, and that defense is amazing. It's just, can their offense, punch it in and not turn it over? I mean, Chase, you sent that text to us. Like, how is it possible they're down 17-12 and they've outgained them 300 to 110? Like, that was nuts.
I thought for sure that bet was so dead, because you can't be that dominant on the stat sheet and be losing. I don't even know how you do it.
Yeah. So, I mean, it honestly, for me, I think UCLA's offense is going to get it going at some point. But that defense is elite. And I know Oregon State has a good defense too, but similar to the Red River last week, I want these points, because this could easily come down to 3, even a backdoor. So I'm feeling pretty good about it. I might even sprinkle Bruins money line, and the Chiefs just got a turnover here. So donkeys still suck.
What'd you get the number at?
I took it early in the week at 4. I've seen it go down to 3.5. Because it was 4.5, and then immediately it started coming down. I was like, I'm taking this now.
Yeah, I mean, I think the hardest part for me on this one is the only sampling I really have of Dante Moore with a true road test. Boy, did he look bad. That's my only hesitation on this. I'm like you, their defense looks really, really good. I don't mind it with the points. I wouldn't go money line. I don't have a lot of faith in a freshman quarterback on the road in a really tough place to play, not turning the ball over. That's my only hesitation.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good one. For me, I feel like Chip will have them ready. We know the way he runs offenses, and to me, it's just straight defense. Like that defense. Like I was texting my dad, and I'm like, dude, SC is going to be in trouble against UCLA this year. Like they get it even remotely competent on the offensive end. That defense is legit. Yeah, absolutely. Where are you going with your first one?
So this one's a little bit more of a feel play. I'm going to take UAB plus the 9. They've been underrated most of the year. They throw the ball really well, which is kind of rare for some of those mid-major-ish teams. Typically, they like to keep the ball the ground. And I think when they play other mid-major-ish teams like UTSA and some of these guys, typically they're used to having to stuff the run. I think because UA aired out, they're averaging 300 yards through the air every game. They've kept it close against much better programs like Georgia and some of these other schools. They were close. They were playing Tulane a couple weeks ago, and they damn near had the outright win as 20-point dogs. I think they're just better than everyone thinks they are, and 9 seems like a lot to me.
Yeah. I mean, and if I follow that would be 3 straight weeks I'm on UAB. I was on them 2 weeks ago, last week.
They keep cashing.
Yeah. I mean, they're obviously good offensively, and if they can just slow down a little bit on the defensive side, they're going to be in most games.
Yep. It's my thought process.
Yeah.
I don't have any. I have no opinion on it.
Do you want to give out one of Duke's plays?
Yeah, let's give out 2 of Duke's. So Duke played, and I agree with this side also. It's not one of my official plays, but I'll be tailing Pitt plus 7.5. We know a couple other good friends on this side also. He also likes Okie State plus 3. So I don't have any opinion there, but Duke likes him enough to give him out, so I will probably ride.
I got 2. One of those that is.
No, go ahead.
Okie State's an interesting one. Well, Okie State's kind of an interesting one because Kansas looked like world beaters last week, and for some reason in the Big 12, the rivalries, they almost always go to the underdog. I don't know why. I just feel like the rivalries are just so much more potent in that conference. It doesn't make any sense to me. Big 10 rivalries don't seem to be that way outside of maybe Michigan, Ohio State. But Oklahoma State's going to give you their best shot, and Gundy's going to literally unload the playbook to try to win.
Yeah, I mean, that's the side I was looking on, as well, is Oklahoma State. So the thing that's kind of kept me off of it is that upset win over Kansas State last week, which just kind of had me just, can they do it 2 weeks in a row? I mean, nothing says they can't. It's kind of making me shy to pull the trigger right now.
Stillwater's brutal. Cheese, hit me, man.
What up? All right, so I got 2 plays this week. Switch things up a little bit the last couple weeks. I have an extremely good record playing favorites, which over the past few years has not been my strong suit, playing favorites. But so I got 2 plays. I'm gonna give one of them out now. It is also a Pac-12 game. I played Washington -3. I think Michael Penix Jr. is the truth. I don't see how Oregon stops them. Oregon's played no one of significance yet this year. Should have lost that game to Texas Tech, the only team that they have played that was able to score points against them. They played a beat-up Stanford team who was absolutely trash. They absolutely smashed Colorado in just like the greatest spot ever where we were all on Oregon. Texas Tech, they obviously have that pick 6. Well, they were up 1, then they had the pick 6 last minute of the game to cover that spread. And Portland State, I mean, they haven't played anyone impressive yet. I think this is a bad spot for them. I expect Washington to control the clock and win this game handily. So Washington -3.
I need to hear these alt lines.
No alt line, but I think Washington wins this game by 10. So I like
a similar,
and I also have a strong lean to the under here. I have this game Washington 28-20. So we will see.
All right. It's a similar type of, I mean, my second pick's kind of in the same boat where it's like, I mean, who has Oregon really been tested on the road against? Like, this is going to be a real test. A lot of their wins have been the Portland State game. I mean, why did they even play it? There's too much fluff in that schedule for me.
It scored 80 points in that game.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
Helen Keller.
That wasn't even a football game.
No, it was 7-on-7.
Yeah, for sure.
So I guess I'll just run into it. My second play is actually Oregon +3. And I was looking at Washington, and I think this is the first time this has happened all season where anybody's on a reverse side. But for me, it's more, I think Oregon's defense is better than what people actually are giving them credit for. They're fast, they're physical.
What makes you believe that their defense is legit? Is it that
if you would have shut
that magnificent offense?
I was literally doing it.
That magnificent offense in Stanford that they played.
I mean, it's the same. I mean, Pac-12 is notorious for beating the shit out of each other, but they're winning games. Like most times than not, these conference games, they're not giving 100%. Like they're not tipping a play for the following week. And you see it time and time again where Arizona last week probably should have beat USC. Like there's plenty of reasons that we can go into why it was that case, but this isn't shocking to me, and that's why I was saying I'm kind of on the opposite sides here. Is that I knew most people are going to be on. Usually you're taking the home team, laying the short, but I just think both these teams aren't getting enough credit where I'm willing to fade an amazing trend by Josh Applebaum. Both ranked home fave, lay the points. I mean, Joey, you've nailed it a couple weeks in a row on your best bets. I mean, who knows? Maybe I'm way off and Oregon loses by 20, which I'd laugh because I fucking hate Oregon. I just think a lot of people are in love with Washington, and I need to see it. I need to see it against an actual team that's been doing it for year after year. So, I mean, defensively, I do think they're a lot quicker side to side where they're going to be able to slow down Penix a little bit. Maybe I'm just a Penix hater. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a great game either way. So we'll see.
Should be.
It's going to be fun to watch. I think the thing for me that's a little bit stark, I'm kind of a little bit more on Joey's side on this one, just because Oregon has notoriously just had god awful defenses. They put up a shitload of points. The Chip Kelly era, they never could play. It's like, oh, they're on the field too long. Like there's all these excuses that are being made, but because they have nobody on their schedule that's looked like a real test, I always worry about that first road test. That first road test, especially if you've had a bunch of fluff games, I get it. You want a confident team, but that false confidence can go south in a hurry.
Yeah, no, definitely.
I got another one from Duke.
Yeah, do that. Then go to.
He also wanted to give out Purdue +19.5. So Duke's 3 are Pitt +7.5, which I also agree with. Okie State +3 and Purdue +19.5.
I mean, it's going to be 2 straight weeks. I'm not playing Purdue, but I'll be cheering for them.
I'll be cheering for him. I can't bet that.
I just have to watch. Like I don't want to be.
I can't bet that team. I want nothing to do with it.
I don't want anything to do with Purdue. Like I've made my money back from them. I'm good. I'll wait for another play, but not this week.
They just look poorly coached to me.
That defense is so bad. Like, I mean, Chase, how many times have we texted? Just man, they're Swiss cheese. They're just terrible. They
can't tackle.
Bad. Just blown plays, just blown everything. It's just they're unfathomable, and I just can't. I can't stand it. But yeah, Chase, go. Maybe give out your next two because I know Joey and I are on opposite on our third.
Okay, I'll go quick here. So I'll give you my second one and then my best bet. Second bet is going to be more of a public side. Is UNC -4. It's not so much that I want to be on UNC. I want to be against Miami. I don't like Miami this week at all. Their coach absolutely screwed the pooch last week with the dumbest play call in the history of college football. That's going to reverberate through the locker room one way or another. They were undefeated. They had a shot at an outside chance of looking at a playoff spot. Now they don't. Their schedule's not going to be strong enough. And this is exactly the same logic of why I would kind of lean Washington. They have played virtually no one, except the one decent game they played was A&M, and they played them at home. They have not had a road test yet. So you're coming off a horrible loss on a bad play call where your dreams of making the playoff are busted, and you get your first real road test. I could see this being a blowout. I could see Miami completely quitting.
Yeah, and honestly, I looked at this too, but they're on the long list. Same with kind of Okie State. So I kind of love the fact you and Chris, are playing games on my long list because it'll probably get me to the table door. I don't know. But yeah, I agree with that side 100%. And in part of me, I think why it wasn't the top 3 is how you're saying you don't want any part of Miami. I'm thinking, you lose a game like that is kind of, with the NFL pod yesterday. That's why I like the Ravens where, this week where you give up a game. I mean, you got that taste in your mouth all week. Like, I mean, I'm pretty sure we all played, some athletics in high school, college. I mean, that's the worst, especially when you're a kid.
Yeah.
It's just like blood in your mouth for a week. I mean, 2 weeks if you have a bye. It's terrible. You're just itching to get back out there. So that's kind of what kept me off of it. But I mean, that's the side I do like.
I know it's going to be a more public side, which is always, historically a little bit more cause for pause. But their only road game this year is at Temple. That's the only road game they've played this year. They beat an FCS team at home. They beat Miami of Ohio, and then they lost this week to Georgia Tech. The only other win they have is Texas A&M. Texas A&M is not overly buttoned up when it comes to coaching. They make a lot of stupid mistakes, so you don't really know what team you're going to get. I'm just not sold that they're that good.
Yeah,
I'm going
to be on Miami this weekend.
God love you.
Man, this might be the best pod ever. We're not agreeing with each other.
I'm definitely on Miami this weekend for the simple fact that all week I've heard about Mario Cristobal and how awful he is and how this team has given up on him and this and that. I expect Miami to win that game versus North Carolina.
Where did he used to coach?
Your squad. I was gonna get blown out this weekend by Washington.
My best bet for the week is Maryland minus 13.5. They burned me last week by a half fucking point, but they were tied at halftime at Ohio State in the shoe. Like they looked like the legit team that was going to get a big road win or at least threaten them, and they fell apart. I don't think this was a team that had aspirations of any major bowl games or anything to start the year. So the fact that they were in that position, I don't think it is as deflating that they lost. They probably knew they were going to lose or at least expected to on some level. So I'm not really worried about the fallback and them just imploding at home. They're playing a team in Illinois who loves to give the ball away. Maryland loves to take the ball away. I love strength versus weakness. And at 13.5 is what I'm seeing currently. I would take it at 14-2. They've won every home game this year by at least 18 points. And Illinois is not the best team they played at home. So I don't see any way Illinois keeps this close.
I just can never place money on Illinois ever again.
Yeah. They're terrible.
They're just awful.
So kind of fun backstory. Chase and I really liked Nebraska last week against Illinois, but we overthought it. We're like, man, both teams are scum. They're just going to be flipping and flopping and turning the ball over. And I'm like, yeah, short fields. It will be great. Under so short. It's so trendy. Everyone's on the under. Snap call. Let's play the over. I feel like 50 points should have been scored in that game, and yet it was what it was. It was just it was
taking
comical.
a cheese grater to your. It's like taking a cheese grater to your
13-6.
Yeah, it was god awful. Like I actually felt like doing bodily harm. I was so disgusted. Like not only did I not play whoever they're called, Nebraska, but then to make it worse is I'm sitting there in the morning. I'm like, man, I'm going to play Oklahoma State money line. Like, just fuck it. Like, something dumb's going to happen. Kansas State sucks. They're not really that good. Didn't understand the 12. They get down. Chase and I are just like, yeah, they'll probably win. and then we kind of chased a little bit, and yeah, it was a terrible Friday night, but
It was not.
It was a great Saturday, so I'm not gonna complain.
There's nothing worse than being correct about the game and still getting it wrong.
Yeah,
for sure.
Hey, you're going to turn it over a lot. There's going to be a lot of short fields. There should be a lot of points. That was 100% correct, except for the points.
Yeah, no, crazy. I don't know how we should bring this last game in here. Chase, do you want to do it, and then Cheese can?
No, your turn. You go first.
You want me
You've
to
been
go?
bickering on it all week.
2 plays already. All right, so
me and Kmart clash head to head on this USC Notre Dame game. So Kmart, you go first because you are the USC fucking homer, and I will go second.
49er homer, like
I will go second with Notre Dame.
I'm kind of like Chase's autistic friend who loves Notre Dame. Speaking of which, what's his prediction for this?
I haven't got it yet.
You haven't got it yet.
I haven't got it yet. I'll get it tomorrow.
I'm usually really good at capping USC because I literally used to go to every game and I'm too close to it. But
he's
I don't understand.
I do know.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So
I was going to say he's under the impression that Notre Dame has got some serious chemistry problems. So that's my Notre Dame insight from people that I know that follow the team really closely.
Yeah. No, I mean that's what it looks like.
Wouldn't surprise me.
But like for me, we were starting to look at this like even 3 weeks ago, and the look ahead I saw was USC minus 4.5. Now it is Notre Dame minus 2.5. So SC has been winning. Since then, Notre Dame has lost 2. So this smells like a crazy, crazy overreaction. And I think the books knew if they lay USC minus 4.5 on there, they're going to fucking probably get killed. Like I would have been on Notre Dame plus 4.5, but getting SC plus 2.5, like Notre Dame at home, I mean, Chris loves these lines too. Minus 2.5. Wait, why aren't you making us lay a full field goal? I mean, my book even has minus 2.5, but if I go to 3, it's like minus 125. So, that's telling me all I need to know. So, USC money line. I'm not going to fuck with the points. Keep the juice, bookie. Smell you later. And for me, like it's pretty simple.
I can't wait till Notre Dame wins by 1 and we both lose.
Yeah, that would be hilarious.
That would be perfect.
I mean, honestly, I am going to at some point. Like I'm hoping to get that 3 at not minus 125 just in case. I'm going to do like a 50-50, but maybe more like a 60-40 on the money line. Just in case something stupid happens like that. Another push. But USC's defense is obviously the talk of everybody. They're not even top 100 in most categories that people give a shit about, and it's the common Lincoln Riley and Grinch offense defense woes. Like in my opinion, this defense, I'm not going to say they're good. Like they clearly have issues, but they're also not as bad as people think. It's just when you have an offense like USC score in 3 minutes, your defense is ultimately going to be on the field longer, have more possessions on the field, and eventually, where do most of these comebacks happen? In the second half. Apart from last week, they're usually up, and then their offense kind of just sputters. I think they just start. I don't even know. I honestly don't know what they're doing, but that's usually when teams start really racking up yards because they're coming back from 24 points. But to me, the eye opener was last week when they're down 17-0 after 3 straight 3-and-outs. Never heard of Fafita. He grew up in Huntington Beach, right by me. Went to Servite. Kid looks phenomenal. Defense looked phenomenal. Caleb couldn't find an open receiver. He had to sit there for an hour and have, 10 holding penalties that should have cost SC the game. But I just don't foresee that happening again. I think SC is going to ball control. They're going to run it more, have longer drives, keep that defense fresh. They, in my opinion, have to play Gentry. That kid is phenomenal. He's like a dinosaur out there with his wingspan. He's probably my favorite player on their defensive side. Loved him last year. Said it last year when they lost to Utah. Gentry got hurt. That's when the comeback came. This kid is really special. But yeah, Joey, I'm tired of talking. Just go.
No, so yeah, for me, so obviously I'm on Notre Dame -2.5. It is my best bet for the weekend. Notre Dame last week obviously got smacked up by Louisville in a game where they committed 5 turnovers. Certainly did not help them. The weather this weekend in South Bend is not going to be great. It's going to be windy and rainy. I expect Notre Dame to keep USC's offense off the field. Notre Dame does that by running the football effectively, although they did not run the ball effectively last weekend. Notre Dame should control the clock in this game. They want to avoid a shootout at all costs. When I look at these two teams' schedules, I look at who Notre Dame played, then I look at who USC played, and it basically tells me everything I need to know. Notre Dame has played games versus Louisville, Duke, Ohio State, and NC State. USC has not played a game where they were less than a 21.5-point favorite this year. That includes wins versus Arizona, where they should have lost, Colorado, who I was not impressed with USC in that game either, Arizona State, and an absolute garbage, awful Stanford team. This will be USC's first real test, although you could say last week was, which it shouldn't have been. I expect Notre Dame to win this game convincingly. I'm not impressed with this USC team. I will go as far as saying that this team is absolutely fucking garbage.
And like their struggles last week are actually why I like them this week. Like in a game they should have lost, it helps, bring them together. They kind of have that second life, knowing that losing that game, it wouldn't even matter if they ran the gauntlet. Like having that loss against Arizona, who, I don't know, probably at best is going to win 7 games. If they would have won that, like they're going to probably be stretched to get in a bowl game. But winning a game like that, I think, is huge. At the end of the day, these are kids. Like,
I agree that could definitely help their momentum. But what it boils down to is USC couldn't stop the bottom of the barrel teams in the Pac-12. You are certainly not going to stop Notre Dame from scoring.
I think a lot of people have a lot more confidence in Sam Hartman than I do. I don't think he's a top 10 quarterback in college football this year.
Hated him at Wake Forest. Hated his fucking guts. I actually liked the kid this year.
He's a 6th-year senior, dude. He's 24 years old. In college, that makes a big difference. Your decision-making gets a lot better the older you get. If you'd have asked me last week before the games, we talked about this kind of briefly in the chat, I'd have hammered Notre Dame. I would have absolutely hammered Notre Dame. They have a better defense. I think their offense is just as good, if not better. They're definitely more balanced. To me, they played a harder schedule. I mean, everything leans Notre Dame. My only concern is they've had 2 heartbreaking losses. One of them where they got whacked by Louisville, and that game against Ohio State, you should have won that game. They had a pick to end the game on the final drive. It was over, and he just flat fucking dropped it. That's a hard way to lose. I gotta wonder how much motivation you get out of them. I would worry about them starting a little sluggish. And USC is not a team you want to play from behind from, I don't think, especially when you're
for sure you don't want to play from behind.
Unless you're Utah.
So
correct.
That would be my only concern. Before they lost to Louisville pretty badly last week, I would have whacked Notre Dame. I would have whacked them hard for sure.
Yeah, well, both games that Notre Dame has lost, I would argue USC loses both of those games also.
Could.
They probably lose to Ohio State.
Yeah, and the way Louisville played last week.
Dude, that stadium was rocking, man.
It was. Yep. So that's
Well,
it.
that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed.
Let's cash some tickets.
Fade, follow. Yeah, hopefully we cash some shit. I'll post out. I got it all written down here. Make sure the lines are what they were. When we gave them out here on this show, I don't really care what they become Saturday morning, because I'm pretty sure all of us who gave them out have already booked it.
Yeah.
So irregardless, listen to the show, and I don't really care what number it is on Saturday. So again, thanks for watching. We're gonna try to figure out, a day and time, where it's just more consistently. And if one of us, two of us can't make it, I think we're just gonna live with it. But hopefully our lives slow down. Mr. Cheese, have fun in Tampa, and give JJ our best, and tell him we want him on the show again.
Peace.
Baker, money maker.
Three idiots.